About you, and just so thankful that I got to come and meet all of you. What beautiful children you are. It is so exciting. Thank you for inviting me, Miss Ann. I'm honored to be here. Well, I want to tell you a little bit of my story. How long do you want me to speak, by the way?
2 hours.
Well, hopefully, almost 6 o'clock. Gives enough chance to
And I like to allow question time too, because you might have questions about how I do things. Okay. So first thing, when you look at me, you notice something is different about me, right?
Yes.
What is it? You can all say it.
You got blonde hair.
I have one hand and a little arm. I was born this way. So I've never had 2 hands, but I learned how to do lots of things with one hand and a little arm. But I have to tell you, when I was first born, I was the 7th child in the family. Now, are you from big families? Anybody have 7 kids in your family?
I'm only child.
5 is a lot.
I'm only child.
Okay. Well, I was number
My grandma had 15.
15. Whoa, that's super cool.
My grandma had 15.
Okay, good.
5 letters. I'm not playing.
Wow. Okay, well, I'll get back to my story. I was number 7, and when I was born, my parents were so surprised and sad. Now, they were worried. They thought, how is our little baby going to learn how to do things when she gets a little bit older? How is she going to learn how to play with her toys with one hand? How will she be able to crawl across the floor? How will she be able to zip her coat or button or tie her shoes? There's a lot of things you all do, right? Yeah, all of us. We have to do things. So they were a little bit worried about it, but guess what? As I started to grow, my parents watched how I could do things with one hand. And they thought, wow, she's not having any problems at all doing things. I could hold my toys between my little arm and my hand. I can move my arm. I can make big circles. I can make little circles. And here's how I clap. You like that? Let me hear you clap. Right. Okay. So I just had to learn how to do things different. But do you know what? When I went to school, when I got a little bit older, some of the kids weren't very nice. Have you ever seen that happen before?
Yes.
Where it
I
was-
actually kicked somebody in the butt and I got detention because somebody was
Okay. Well, do you know what? When I used to get teased, I just would sort of run away, and I felt shy and embarrassed and sad inside. And I would go home and tell my mom what happened sometimes. And guess what my mom said? Now this is really important. Sort of like that. She said, kids that are mean to other kids are hurting inside. Yeah. Like maybe somebody's being mean to them, so that's why they're trying to make themselves feel a little better by being mean to someone else. And so then I started thinking about what she said, and guess what happened? I didn't get mad at that person. I started thinking that that person is hurting. My mom said maybe their parents are abusing them at home. Maybe someone else is doing something really mean, and maybe that's why they're acting that way. But she taught me love is the best way. Do you know what the Bible says? To pray for those that are mean and hurtful to you. Be kind. See, Jesus' way was very different from what we think sometimes, right? Like if someone hits you, I mean, maybe we think, I'm just going to hit him back. That wasn't Jesus' way. He said, love people. Even if they're mean to you, love is the key. It is so important. So, that's what I started doing. And it really helped me. So then I wasn't mad about people, and I wasn't so shy, and I didn't try to run away from everybody. I just realized this is the way I was born, and I'm not really sure why. See that little hole right there?
Yeah.
Kind of looks like a belly button, doesn't it?
Yes.
but it's not. It just was there when I was born. I don't really know why. Maybe it's where the skin closed up there. And my parents asked the doctor, why was our baby born like this? And the doctor says, we don't know. So sometimes things just happen. But guess what? It's actually turned out to be a good thing in my life. Can you believe that? Because
Yeah.
I can help it. You can? You get that? Why? How can you get
Because
that?
people will be like, maybe God blessed her because God wanted you to be different from everybody.
I love it. I like the way you're thinking. You're right. Because when people see me doing things with one hand and not being upset about it or not shy, not trying to pull my sleeve down so nobody could see my arm, that's what some people do. But I'm like, this is the way I am and it's okay. Well, this is really cool. Do you guys like show and tell? You know what that is?
Yeah.
When I was 6 years old and I was in first grade. Did we have any first graders here? You guys are older. You're, okay, good.
We got a lot
Did
of
he actually believe that?
So, when I was in first grade, I got something for my arm. Do you want to guess what it was? Right, it was a fake arm. Okay? Instead of a hand, guess what it had? Maybe you've seen somebody. That's what I thought. It had a hook.
Oh, I was gonna say that.
So you could pick up?
Yeah. Would you like to see what one looks like?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the show and tell part. Notice how my little arm helps me do things. So I can hold this. For example, when I bring the groceries in the house, I can put a lot of bags on my arm and carry them in the house. And then I can open the door with my hand. I just threw that in there for you. So I'm going to open this up. See, I'm using my arm. Sit this down. Are you ready?
Yeah.
This is so cool. Look at that. Now, when I was a little girl, this is what I got, but this is not actually mine. This was made for someone else that was missing their right arm. But my mom didn't save any of my arms when I was little, so I don't have one that I actually wore when I was little. But it was just like this, only smaller. Because this, I believe, was for an adult, maybe someone about my size. But anyway, when I went to the hospital to learn how to use my new arm. I'm going to tell you the name of this. This is a really big word. So when you go home, tell your parents this word. You got to remember it, okay? Prosthesis. Try it. Prosthesis. Say it again. Prosthesis. This is a prosthesis. A prosthesis is any part, it's an artificial, that means it's not real part of the body that takes the place of the real part. Even a fake eye is called a prosthesis. Or a leg. So look how this moves. Would you like to hear how I put it on and wore it every day?
Yes.
Okay, first I put on a little t-shirt. Then my mom put this little sock over my arm. And then I put my arm inside. This strap went around my back. And this soft part went under my arm. Why do you think it had to have the strap on there?
So like since it's like plastic kind of, it would like hurt because like when you're moving it might like scrape back here.
Good thinking. Any other ideas? Yes.
Or when it falls.
Yeah. Otherwise, I mean, it's pretty heavy. It would just fall on the floor. So I would put it on, and I could make it operate. I could open the hook, not by using this hand, but by using my muscles. Show me your bicep muscles. Make your muscles real strong. Now feel that with your other hand. How strong your muscle is. You guys have big muscles. And that would open this up. That would pull the wire way up high, and it would open the hook. And would you like to hear about the elbow part?
Yeah.
Okay. When I would want the elbow joint to lock in place, like right there, or straight, and I didn't want it just to flop around, I would actually move my shoulder in a special way, and it would pull this wire, which would lock it in place. This is broken right now, so I can't show you that. But when I would pull that, it would hold it right where I wanted it. That actually worked that time. Let me pull it again. Oh, it's fixed. Okay, there it is. So let's say I wanted it right here. I'm going to pull this. If you listen close, you might hear it click. Well, it didn't work. Sorry.
No, it is.
No, it was not working again. Anyway, it would click into place. Now, when I would go to Sunday school, do you guys go to Sunday school?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well, when I would have things, my Sunday school papers, I would put them inside of that hollow part of the forearm. Okay?
Why?
Oh, it was a nice way to carry them because I was just a little girl and I didn't carry a purse yet. So I would just put them right inside there. So every couple years, guess what happened?
It got smaller.
My arm grew and I had to get a new arm. Did you ever have to get a new arm? No, probably not, right? But have you ever had to get new shoes? New clothes? Because you grew? Yep. So, when I went back to school, all the kids were so surprised. And the teacher said, come on up front of the class and you can show the kids how your new arm works. So I walked up there, my little first grade self. I was 6 years old. And I showed the kids all the things that I could do with my arm. And they thought it was really, really neat. Well, as I grew older, when kids started paying more attention to my arm, sometimes the boys, they would call me something. Guess what it was? What did it do with that? No. What? It has something to do. Yes, Captain Hook. You think I like that? No. Because Captain Hook was a boy and I was a girl. I didn't want to be called Captain Hook, right? But you know what? Sometimes people say things and they don't really mean to be cruel or mean to other people, but they just don't think. In fact, one day when I was a grown-up, I worked in schools. There was a boy that came in with an unusual haircut. And when he walked in his classroom that morning, guess what the other kids did? Some of them. They just started laughing at his haircut. They're like, look at that haircut. You know what? He started crying. He was so sad.
Why did you not? Did you stand up for him?
Well, I talked to some of the other kids. But you know what? That shows you that you have to be careful how you treat other people, right? Because we don't want to hurt anybody, do we? No, absolutely not. Jesus tells us to love one another and to be kind and gentle. So we should be careful of how we speak to people, right?
Yeah.
Well, I kept wearing my prosthesis until there I was in first grade, right? Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. I was in sixth grade. And I had grown out of my old prosthesis. And guess what? I told my parents I did not want to wear a prosthesis anymore. Because it really didn't help me. Because I had already learned when I was 6 years old how to do things with one hand and my little arm. So when I would get home from school, do you ever take your shoes and socks off when you get home from school just to feel comfortable and you wiggle your toes? It feels good, right? That's how it felt when I took my arm off. It felt comfortable to take my arm off. So then I didn't have to wear it at home. What?
That kind of sounds painful.
But it wasn't painful. It's like taking your shoes off. It doesn't really hurt, right? You just take it off, and I would throw it on my bed or something.
Like it sounds painful to us because you have that.
Yeah.
Have like actual arms. So if we just take that arm,
Well, I like how you're thinking about that. You're being very kind when you say that. So when I was in sixth grade, and I told my parents I didn't want to wear my fake arm, my prosthesis anymore, they said, okay, you don't have to. But then I was really nervous because I was going to go back to school, and all the kids, they had been used to seeing me wearing this prosthesis arm, right? And here, I came back to school one day like this, and I was really worried that they were going to start teasing me again. But it wasn't too bad. I asked my teacher to tell the whole class that I wasn't going to be wearing it anymore because I was too shy to tell them. But of course they noticed. And it didn't turn out to be too bad. So I didn't wear a prosthesis anymore. But then, when I became a grown-up, just a couple years ago, I decided maybe I would try to get another prosthesis. But really the kind of I wanted that would actually have a hand on it and sort of look like a robotic hand, and that would do really cool things. I could actually pick things up and do the dishes, because over the years, for me, I mean, I do things with my arm a lot, so I'm always bending down like this, like to do dishes, to make the bed, to whatever I'm doing, I'm bending down a lot, so it was sort of making my neck a little tight. And I thought maybe it would help me to get another prosthesis, because now, all these years later, I think they're much better, right, with technology? But guess what?
Yeah.
Exactly, they're very expensive, they cost about as much as a house. So, instead of getting a cool robotic hand, I did get one though. It's really pretty looking, would you like to see it? Okay, it's in my other bag here.
So you got 2 houses?
Jason, stop.
Shut up,
Now, since this one was made for me, guess what? I can put it on and show you with me wearing it. Okay, the hand is going to come out first. You ready?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Here it comes.
Oh my God.
That.
Now
This one, what? This one's different. What does it not have? What doesn't it have? What? Right? Does it have a hook? Something else?
Hello.
Yeah.
You can't move the vehicle.
Yeah, that's true. But what does this one have?
Strap.
A strap. See, this one doesn't. But to put it on, remember how I told you I had a little sock that I put on my arm?
Yeah.
Well, this one has a rubber liner. Okay, so I'm going to put it on. I'll have to pull my sleeve up a little bit more. So I just roll it on like this. I keep pulling it up. It's a little bit tight, but it doesn't hurt. Now, there's a little bit of silicone. It's sort of like a glue, plastic, rubbery stuff. Guess what that's for?
It's the grip, so it sticks to the arm.
Right, so it holds on the prosthesis. This is also called a prosthesis, right?
Yeah.
You see this little wire here?
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to do something special, but I'll show you. So I'm going to slide it on. It was made just for me, so it fits just right. Okay? Now it's on. It's not falling off. But I want to show you this, and then I'll pull my sleeve down. This, remember how I showed you the elbow, and I pulled that wire to make it stay put? Like, oh, if I wanted it here. I'll give you an example. One cool thing that I can do, I can clap. Okay? Which I've never been able to clap before. And when I wore this to church for the first time, I was showing my friends. I said, I'm clapping! Because we clap in our church a lot, so I was clapping. But let me show you. See how it fell down? Well, I don't want it to fall down. So, I pull this. Listen. Did you hear it? Yeah. Now it stays put. So I can pull my sleeve down. See how I had my sleeve all rolled up before, right? But now I can unroll it. Bring it all the way down.
She even put a bracelet on.
I know you like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can unroll this.
Who said that?
Do you want to hear something interesting? The first day, the man who made this, his name is Jonas. He's really nice. He had to work a lot on this, making this. And he finally, it was ready, because I had a lot of fittings and measurements and everything. And finally, one day it was ready, and he said, you can come and pick your prosthesis up now. So I went in there, and I put it on, and he kind of rushed over, him and another person. They were going to check to see how it fit and check it out. And I said, wait a minute. I was in front of a big mirror, and I said, wait, I need to see what I look like with 2 hands. Because I used to wonder what it would look like if I did have 2 hands. And so when I put this on, I'm like, wow, this is really cool. I have a hand. See, the wrist even turns, it rotates a little bit. The fingers actually do move, but they're really hard to move. There's a wire, there's like a heavy wire in there. And he told me how I should walk. I'm going to see if I can pull that wire. Yes?
You pick up stuff with that hand?
No. That's a good question. It's all for looks. It's called cosmetic prosthesis. It looks nice, but that's about all it's good for. There. Okay. So my prosthetist taught me He said, when you're walking, like if you're with a ball or something, he said, like to move it, so it looks like you're, it looks more natural when I'm moving it a little bit and walking.
Sure, neither would I.
Would you guys like to feel it? You can shake hands if you want.
Oh!
I feel
I actually want to feel it.
I know, aren't they pretty?
Jarvis, you're only good at video games.
What? You kept,
Are your fingernails nice?
why do you keep throwing it like that's hard? Every time.
That's all I
You
can
like
do.
that?
You couldn't pass it shortly. At the beginning, because then you kept throwing it.
Oh, gotcha.
And then he couldn't get it.
Oh,
Because you weren't throwing it good.
You can do like metal.
Gonna feel it?
No, that's one thing. That's why, yeah, I could I could grab David something else.
It falls off. Imagine it broke if I
Shake hands. Yeah, normally you shake with your right, but hey.
What were you talking about?
Okay, you
No, I
guys
said-
ready to listen again? Okay.
He said that.
One thing that I would like for all of you to know
He was not even good.
is how special you are to God.
Pretty sure it's called a temple.
He created
The thing
you
was like
with
bending up.
special purpose and design. You're all beautiful, and God has a plan for each one of you. And He has a plan for all of us adults. He knows the good things that He has in store for you. That's why we want to walk in His plan, and we want to listen to what He has to say to us. Because then when we obey Him and we follow His ways, we are so blessed. And we have so many things to be thankful for, even when life is hard. And life is hard, even for kids sometimes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not always easy. And it wasn't always easy for me, but God is always there, and He's listening for your voice. He wants to hear you. He wants to talk to you. He wants to speak to you because He loves you so very much. I was wondering if you have any questions, like maybe how I do things with one hand, or yes?